Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So in my last video, I shared my compounding strategy on StrongBlock, and I have the link in the description. If you haven't gone through it, you should, because you could make more than 40% on your monthly passive income. So check that out, guys. So at the end of it, I promised I'll be sharing my entire passive income portfolio. So that's coming very soon. In the meanwhile, I wanted to dig a little bit deeper into StrongBlock and its sustainability. Okay, so things like, is this model sustainable? Okay, can we expect the same return down the road? And how low can the rewards go in the future? So things like that. Okay, so I will share all these details in 5 simple steps. So is the model sustainable? The simple answer is yes, for a while, but not forever. Okay, so let me pull out this chart here that I prepared. So the blue line indicates the total number of nodes over a period of time. Okay, so it all started in December 2020, and then now we're at about 270,000 nodes. Okay, so we are in this exponential growth phase, guys. Okay, you can clearly see that on the blue line. Okay, on the other hand, okay, so the red one indicates the number of days to create the next 5,000 nodes. Okay, so in the beginning, for the first 5,000 nodes, it took about 63 days. Okay, here it is. And then the next 5,000 took 28 days. Okay, and fast forward to today. Okay, so to create 5,000 nodes, all we need is 2 days. Okay, just 2 days, guys. So that's how fast we are growing today. So now the question is this sustainable? Okay, can we keep growing up and up and up? So I think we will continue to grow at this rate for a while, and then the rate of growth will decrease, eventually kind of leading to flattening out on this curve. So our rewards could go down, or there are other things that could happen, which I'll explain in detail. So assuming that this is sustainable for a while, right? Can we predict how long is this sustainable? So we know we are in the exponential growth phase, right? So let's see how these growth phases ended up in real world to get some understanding, and then we could kind of apply that in our case. Okay, here is the number of mobile subscriptions over a period of 3 decades. Okay, and here you could see for about 2 decades, right? So the subscriptions saw exponential growth. Okay, it's clearly evident till probably 2011, right? And then you could see some type of flattening on the curve. So this is because, so there is a capacity, right, to the number of subscriptions. You can't have unlimited subscriptions, right? You can't have more subscriptions than the number of mobile users, right? So you have this hard limit, right? And as you approach that hard limit, so you tend to grow slower and slower. Okay, and that's where you're seeing this flattening, and this pattern is quite common, guys. Okay, across many real world scenarios, it's very, very common. Let me pull out another example. So here I have the world population for 300 years. Now here you could also see the exponential growth curve on the green area till probably 2019, I would say, right? And from here you could see the curve flattening out, right? And why is this the case? See, we live in a planet with limited resources. That could be housing, natural resources, among many other things. Okay, so there is, in reality, there is this capacity and the upper bound on every single growth story. So this really applies to StrongBlock as well. We will peak out at some point of time, okay, and then we will, and before peaking out, okay, we will start seeing this decreased rate of growth. The number of nodes created every month will go down, in my opinion. So today we are at 70,000 new nodes every single month. At some point probably we will do 100,000 or so, and then at some point we will start seeing that number go down. Okay, from 100,000 it could be 95 to 90,000 a month, to 80,000 a month, to 70,000 a month, and so on, because StrongBlock's market is not unlimited. Okay, and there is competition, guys. Here is a quick theory on these exponential charts. So on the left, I have an example of exponential growth chart that keeps going up and up and up without slowing down. And then on the right, I have this logistic growth where there is a component which is exponential and then it kind of flattens out. S-shaped curve, and then the exponential is more like a J-shaped curve, right? Okay, so these exponential growth stories, they do not exist in real world scenarios, guys. Like I said, every growth story has some type of capacity of that environment. So knowing that we will be peaking at some point and inevitable impact on the rewards, right? What's more important here is really the team. How would the team handle this slowdown of the growth over a period of time? And then this flattening of the curve. Is the team capable to handle? Is the team capable to generate new revenue? And that is the exact reason why I never invest in anonymous teams. I made an exception recently. I will reveal that later. But usually I'll shy away from any anonymous teams because I don't know how good they are, who they are, and I have full faith in the team at StrongBlock. That's the main reason, guys, for me to get involved in this project. Before deciding if a business model is a Ponzi scheme or not, you need to really understand the economics behind it, right? So let's go through the token flow in the StrongBlock ecosystem, and then we'll come to whether it's Ponzi or not kind of discussion. So here I have my whiteboard up and ready. Okay, so what I'm trying to do here is like balance out the number of tokens coming in to the system and then the tokens going out in the form of rewards. Okay, so the one in blue are tokens in and in red are tokens out. So we know that we need 10 tokens to create a node, and then there are about 2000 nodes created every single day. So that's about 20,000 tokens coming into the system every day. Okay, and then so these 20,000 gets distributed, right, to 4 different channels. Most of this 20,000 goes into node. So 60% of the 20,000 goes into node reward pool. Okay, that's about 12,000 tokens, and then 20% into strong pool, where you get rewarded for staking your tokens. And then there is 10% into liquidity pool. So there is Ethereum and Chainlink liquidity pools on Uniswap. So you get rewarded for that as well. And then there is a future bucket, where 10% of the tokens go into. Okay, so that's how this 20,000 is distributed. Now that's the input side, right? Now on the other hand, so let's look at the number of tokens that are paid by the company to the node and token holders. Okay, so here let's look into the node reward pool. Okay, so we have about 270,000 nodes today. How do we know? We just go to strongblock.com. So you could see, so I'm just approximating to 270,000. Okay, so if I go back, so this equates to 24,570 tokens paid every single day to the node holders. Okay, So from the liquidity pools, it's about 25 tokens, okay? And then from the strong pool, it's about 66 tokens per day. So the total is 24,661, right? So the total in is 20,000, total out is 24, right? So we have about a deficit of 4,500 approximately. So I didn't include the revenue that's going into the system where you could buy tokens from the market out of your revenue and then kind of contribute to these rewards, okay? And on the other side, the NFT rewards, where some of these nodes would have probably more token payments just because they hold these NFTs, right? So taking into account, these missing components, let's assume that we are able to balance it out. Okay, let's say this is 0. Let's say the total in is equal to total out. Okay, so is this a good thing or a bad thing? What I would like to see here is really more tokens going in and less tokens coming out of the system. So that's where we'll be reaching out to that sustainability point and also see massive token appreciation. Okay, so more tokens going into the system, less tokens coming out of the system equals less tokens on the exchange, right? So more demand or same demand and less supply is going to create that token appreciation, guys. Not financial advice, but my opinion. So let's take a step back and look at the token flow again. So most of the rewards today are paid by the new node owners, right? So there is very less coming in from the revenue today, maybe 20 or 10%, that's it, okay? So literally the new node buyers are paying the existing investors. So this is the classic definition of a Ponzi model. We need to call a spade, guys. I'm a huge believer of StrongBlock and the team, but then today it is still operating as a Ponzi model and it's not sustainable, okay? So the good thing is the team is not challenging that it's not a Ponzi model. Instead, they accept it and then they're trying to generate more and more revenue. So the revenue can pay for the rewards, which is going to be much more sustainable. So let's go back to the growth chart for a moment. So earlier I suggested that the current reward rate is not sustainable when we start seeing a decline in the growth rate, which is the number of nodes created every single day. Okay, so what happens, when we start seeing that decline and then when we move towards the flattening phase? Okay, so what could be the options before the team and how would the team probably navigate through those options? Let's take a closer look. Okay, so let me take you back to my whiteboard, okay, so, and scroll down a little bit. So as we know, there are new nodes being created every single day, right? And these nodes pay rewards, and then most people compound these rewards into building new nodes, right? And some people claim the tokens as well, and there are new users, right, buying these nodes. So what happens when there is a slowdown in the number of new users and also in the number of nodes created through compounding? Okay, maybe these node holders believe in a bearish macro outlook. That's possible, right? Or for whatever the reason, right? Say they stop compounding and then they start claiming. So what happens in this scenario? Okay, so let's take a hypothetical example. Let's say tomorrow there are 0 new users, coming into the system, and there are 0 node holders compounding their rewards into new nodes. What happens, right? So literally then there is no new tokens flowing into the system, but then you still need to pay all these rewards, right? Because you still have 270,000 nodes, you still have tokens in your pool, right? So you still need to pay these rewards. So how can the team pay these 24,661 tokens when there is 0 tokens coming in every day? How is it possible? So there is this thing called Community Reserve Wallet, right, which has about 133,000 tokens right now. I could bring that up here. Yep. So this is their wallet, right? So if they start paying out rewards using this wallet, all they got is 5 days of runway. And now let's take a realistic example, guys, okay? Because not everybody is going to stop creating new nodes like from tomorrow, right? It's a gradual process. So in this token flow diagram, instead of 2000 nodes every day, let's say now we got a slowdown and now there are 1000 nodes created every day, right? Now that will create a deficit of about 10,000 tokens per day, right? And you still need to pay all these rewards, guys, okay? Because you still have 270,000 nodes and the tokens in these pools, right? So that will create additional like 10,000 tokens per day in deficit. So I ran through the numbers. So instead of 5 days, now we get about 9 days. So that's still like a week and a half, right? So that's the runway we got. So if there is a slowdown in the number of new nodes created every day, you will see rewards going down significantly, guys, because it's not sustainable. Of course, there is the revenue component, but then I'm not taking into account because it's too small right now. So in this situation, the team has a number of options on the table, okay? So let me scroll down a little bit. Okay, so here they can do two things. So one is they could increase the tokens going into the system, or they can decrease the tokens going out of the system. So how do they increase the tokens in? They could reduce the entry barrier by bringing in like fractional nodes. So there are new people, new investors coming into the system, right? The second, they could increase the number of tokens needed to build a node. So the nodes are now much more expensive. And the third could be adding renewals every year or every quarter, whatever that is, right? And then the fourth would be increasing their revenues, right? So then they can buy more tokens from the market and then pump into the system. And on the other side, for decreasing the tokens out, they could reduce the node reward rate, which probably would happen in my opinion. And second, they could also reduce rewards on the pools. So we all know that the rewards will go down in the future, right? But the question is, how low can they go? Is there a magic number that's sustainable? I think so. So let me take you through this project called Yield Nodes. Okay, so this is quite similar to StrongBlock, except that every single reward that's paid is through the revenue generated by yield nodes. Okay, so they run a bunch of master nodes and then they get paid, and then they distribute, I think, about 80% of the profit back to the investors. Let me go back to my whiteboard. So this is how they operate, guys. Okay, so as an investor, you need to deposit minimum 500 in USD or Euro, and then they buy tokens to run master nodes, and then they get profit out of it and then share 80% of it with investors, okay, in fiat currency. So they don't have their own token, so it's not a speculative play, and that's the reason I did not invest in this project. You know, their historical performance is really impressive, guys. Let me go through that. The average return for the last 2 years is about 120% annually. That's about 10% every single month. So for Strong Node, I would say we are at about 27%. We get paid 0.09 strong tokens daily. So that's about 27% monthly on your 10 strong tokens. So 10% is my magic number. I think 10% is sustainable for a long period of time, maybe several months down the road. So if you have a node today, okay, you're making probably $1,500 every month. So then you need to factor in these guys, okay? 10% would be around 500 a month instead of 1,500, okay? So when you build new nodes, so make sure that you factor in these calculations. And that's it for today. See you another day, guys. Bye.